Hi. Okay, so today we're going to do a little bit of breath work and some yoga. So settle into a comfortable seated position, whatever that is for you. Maybe you have a pillow behind you. Maybe you're directly on the ground. Maybe you're in Thunderbolt with your shins under you, or maybe you are in cross-legged. And just settling into the body, getting into that position, maybe rolling your shoulders a little bit. Maybe wiggling your toes and fingers. Maybe rocking your hips or rotating at the hips a little bit. And going the other way. And whenever you're ready, settling into center, and we'll just take a couple of moments here to notice the natural breath pattern that is happening for you today. So you can close your eyes if you want, or you can just rest your gaze on the ground in front of you, whatever is more comfortable. And then noticing the inhale. Where do you feel that inhale in your body? Notice all the places, your nose, your windpipe, your belly, your lungs. What places stand out to you? Maybe you feel your breath in your fingers and your shoulders, your hips, your knees, your toes. Maybe you feel the breath in your blood with that oxygen exchange. Notice the exhales, where you feel that release. Notice if your mind starts to wander off in a story about it, the release and where you feel it, or any other thing, and drawing your mind back as soon as you notice where you go. Take a moment to look at where you went and then draw it back to feeling the breath. The inhale, the exhale. Just being present with how the breath flows in, how the breath flows out, and where you feel it. Where you feel the breath today. And then take a moment to set an intention. Whatever you want that to be for you today. Whatever you would like to be intending to have more of a quality in your life, in yourself, in your mental awareness, consciousness, whatever that is. And as you breathe, imagine bringing that intention into your cells. Imagine it spreading around, consciously moving through you. And on the exhales, imagine releasing anything that might be in its way, in your way of bringing that intention into you. And slowly letting that intention come out to the fingers and toes with the breath activating your body, whatever activation means for you right now. Go slow though with it. Maybe it's a gentle ripple in the fingers. Maybe it's a gentle movement in the shoulders. Maybe it's still being physically still, but mentally feeling yourself activating. And then slowly in your own time, let your hands start to move to your sides and walk those fingertips out as far as they can reach. And then rotate one palm up and then the other palm up, and let that second hand come up to the sky. Let your pelvis activate to support the hand reaching upward, and then bringing your hands over, sliding them away. Maybe your elbow on the side you're reaching toward bends to support you. Let your chest gently spiral upward, keeping your hips, your spine all neutral in the front to back plane. And then when you're ready, let that lifted hand come straight up if it's not already, and swoop around to the ground underneath the other arm. Exhaling, giving yourself a little squeeze here. Inhale and exhale here. And the next time you inhale, let your arm gently come up. Your belly guides the rest of your torso upward. Then your belly rotates downward as the hand comes down on your exhale, inhaling your belly upward, and then your chest following along, maybe your gaze. And let's do that one more time. Exhaling, squeezing downward, inhaling the belly, moving us upward. And then let this lifted arm circle around just 2 times, a nice big circle. And then as it comes downward, reaching toward the earth, let that arm pull you up, let your belly pull you up. Bring your arms up to the sky. Inhale, exhale, sweep the arms down by your sides, and then walk your fingers around. And let's go ahead and fold forward for just a moment, just to a nice edge. Go ahead and lift your tailbone so the fold comes more into the hips and legs and not so much the low back. Take 2 more nice deep breaths here. Let yourself feel the extent of the breath, the whole inhale, the whole exhale. Don't shorten it just so you can rush through. And the next time you inhale, do so and let your spine lengthen up, maybe back out of the fold, and then pull the belly in to roll up, stacking those vertebrae. And if your legs have been crossed, go ahead and switch the cross of your legs. If they're not, then don't worry about it. If you then want to reach your fingers out to the side, rotate those palms up again, and then start to bring the other arm up using the cord to help you lift that arm. And then slowly sliding out this way, bending that elbow if you like. Coming over to your other side. Let the chest gently rotate upward ever so slightly so you're facing forward more than downward. And then when you're ready, inhaling, bringing the arm straight up if it's not already. Exhale, let the belly rotate down toward the ground. Reach your arm underneath yourself. And just hold on to your side if you can reach there, or your arm. Whatever feels good, whatever works for your body. Taking that extra breath. The next time you inhale, let the belly rotate first, and then the rest of your spine coming up. Exhaling, rotating through the belly and reaching under. Moving with your breath, inhaling upward, exhaling downward. We'll go ahead and do one more of those. And when your arm comes upward, when your belly comes upward, just pause there a moment and then let your arm start to circle. Let your breath continue. Feeling that full expansion of your inhale, the full expansion of your exhale, circling the arm. Go ahead and do another half circle. Let your arm come up and around, and when it reaches away from you, let the arm and your belly, your core, your pelvis help pull your body upward until you come to center. Roll the shoulders just a little bit, and then core active, sweep your arms up to the sky. Exhale, sweep the arms out to the sides, and then walk the fingertips back. Leaning back a little bit if it feels good. Maybe lengthening your low back. Maybe that's a gentle tuck in the pelvis so you get some space in that low back and you aren't pinching any vertebrae. And then pull the belly in to bring yourself up, and then sweep the hands around to the front and gently fold forward, lifting that tailbone slightly so you get the fold in the hips, not so much in the low back. Feel lots of space. The lengthening is between your pubic bone and the low spine up into the ribs on the front side of the vertebrae, not just the back side of the vertebrae. And if you want to release your head down, you're welcome to do that, whatever feels good to you today. Let yourself enjoy the breath. Find some pleasure in that inhale and the exhale. You don't have to rush through it. Inhaling and activating your pelvis. Bring your spine to a flat back. Exhale, pull your belly in as you walk your hands in and come upright again. Let's roll the shoulders or move in whatever way feels good, just being really mindful. Maybe it's rotating at the hips, maybe it's just rolling the shoulders, maybe it's both. Be real mindful and don't go faster than you can stay aware of all the movements you're making. And then go ahead and find yourself up on your hands and knees, however you want to get there. With your knees directly under your hips, your hands directly under your shoulders, so most of your weight is going to be in your legs. You're not going to actually be holding a lot of weight on your hands. Start to drop your tailbone and round the spine, lengthening the belly side of your vertebrae. Dropping the crown of the head down. Exhale deeply. And then when you're ready, lift that tailbone, lift the crown of the head, lengthening out, finding space between the vertebrae, especially on the back side of your spine. Inhaling and arching, exhaling, rounding. You can let your tailbone lead this or your mid-back as long as you're lengthening away. Sometimes the tailbone is the easiest way to do this though. And next time you come to your exhaled, rounded position, go ahead and reach your hands out further. Drop your hips toward your heels. And then pull the belly in and shift the hips forward. Inhaling into a little half push-up position. Just keep your spine straight here. Don't let your hips release lower than your than a straight line between your knees and your shoulders. And then pull the belly in, draw the tailbone back toward the heels, gently arching your back as you shift into your devotional pose. Pull the belly in around and shift forward to that even position. Flow with your breath, exhaling back and forth. This next time, as you inhale, shifting your hips forward, let your hips come a little lower, lengthen through the backside of your vertebrae, and let your chest lift a little higher. So you're coming into a little baby up dog, a little back bend. And then pull the belly up and back as you shift your hips toward your heels, back to that devotional pose. Inhaling forward again, your hips going a little lower, tucking that tailbone, giving yourself some extra space in the vertebrae in the low back, lifting your heart, lifting from the back side of your heart. Pulling the belly in to shift your hips back again. Go ahead and take an extra breath here in your devotional pose. And then when you're ready, we'll roll up. We'll go ahead and shift to one knee and shift the other foot forward into a little lunge. So you want to make sure your ankle is right under your knee. We're just going to rest here a second. Let our spine relax over that front leg. And then go ahead and gently shift forward, pushing your foot into the ground, your front foot, pushing that foot into the ground. Let your knee come ever so slightly past that ankle and then push it back gently behind. We're just really subtle movement, really small little movement. You're working on strengthening the thigh here and strengthening the knee. Upper body gets to be soft, just slightly past, and pushing the foot into the ground to go slightly behind. We'll do one more like that. And now find your place right over. Maybe you want to scoot your foot further away, and then find your knee right over the ankle and pause there. With your hands on either side of that front foot, make sure you square your hips. You feel your front hip drawn further back and your back hip drawn further forward on the back leg. And then tuck those back toes, lift that back leg, go ahead into a little bit higher lunge. And then ground down your back leg hand and spiral your belly toward your front leg. Reaching your arm up to the sky if that feels good. And then reach the arm forward out to the ground, just giving a nice stretch through that side body. And then open again up to the sky. And then bring the hand to the outside of that front foot. Drop that back knee. Shift the hips back. Flex the foot up toward the sky. And breathe here. Let the torso drop over that front leg. Maybe wiggle the toes if you like. And then use the belly muscles to bring that knee back next to the other. Go ahead and bring your hands to the ground. Just do a little circle with the tailbone. And then when you're ready, go the other direction. And then shifting over to the other side, step that other foot back, not quite as far as you will eventually, probably. And bring the knee right over the ankle again. Let the head just drop forward. Let the spine relax over that front leg. The knee is stacked over the ankle so that the bone is stacked in the shin. You don't have to work quite as hard. And then when you're ready, maybe back your torso off just a little bit. Let your hands support you just a little bit. And then push that front foot into the ground. Check in on your hips. Make sure they're even with each other. Engage your pelvis slightly so you can work a little less hard in your neck and shoulders. And then let that front knee come past the ankle and push the foot back so your knee goes just barely behind the ankle. Strengthening the knee, strengthening the thighs, strengthening the core here because the core is subtly active. And strengthening your awareness of softness. The places in your body that don't need to be working. Exhaling gently, pressing that front foot into the ground as the knee moves back behind. And one more time, just gently, slowly forward of the ankle. and gently, slowly back behind the ankle, and then come right over the ankle. And if you want to scoot that front foot further, you can, shifting into a little bit deeper lunge, scooting your hands forward, and then letting your hips release here. Notice if that front hip feels closer to your shoulder than the back hip, and adjust that. That might mean that you're sagging and twisting your hips. And then when you're ready, tuck your back toes, lift that back knee, come into a full low lunge. And then if you want to ground down that back hand and spiral your belly toward that front leg, reaching up, sweep your arm around a nice big space and reach forward, giving some space in that side body. And then using your core, exhale, inhale, sweep the hand back up, rotating through the belly. And then bring the hand back to the ground on the outside of that front foot. Lower that back knee. Shift the whole hip evenly back toward the wall behind you. Maybe the toes come up off the ground on that front foot. Maybe they stay down. Maybe they flow back and forth and move a little bit, getting a little space in that front leg. Lift the tailbone ever so slightly, getting some extra space in the leg, not so much pulling on the low back. And then slowly, slowly shift forward a little bit and use your belly muscles to bring that foot, that knee back next to the other knee. Walk the hands out, drop the hips back for a devotional pose. Round the spine and shift forward. Lift your knees into a plank. And then bend the knees while your hips are lifted and shift your hips back. Adjust your feet however you want to your first down dog. And then if you want to walk one heel and then the other out toward the ground, you're welcome to do that. Shoulders are releasing away from the ears. The hands are broad and strong on the ground. Your arms are long. The inner elbow slightly facing the ceiling. If that feels safe to you. The hands are shoulder width apart. The tailbone is lifting high. Belly is active. And then slowly, slowly walking your feet in until you can get all your weight on your feet. And then bending the knees, letting your spine hang. Engage the glutes. And we'll roll up to a chair pose. So your knees are bent. Your spine is lifted. Roll the shoulders. And then let your core help support your arms and sweeping up to the sky. And from here, go ahead and let your hands come to prayer position at the heart. Go ahead and step your ankles close together so you get that support of your inner thighs on each other, on your knees coming together. Inhale, and then exhale, twist at the belly, bringing the opposite elbow down toward that knee. Inhale, center, still in chair pose. Exhale, twist to the other side. Let your belly pull your torso toward the knee more than any other part of your body. You get these nice oblique activations. The pelvis is gently lifting toward the crown of your head. Your neck and shoulders are soft. No straining here. Just using the core to move the elbow toward the knee, even if it doesn't totally reach today. We want to make sure that we're still squeezing those inner thighs together, getting some activation in both the obliques and the core, the central belly, the low belly, and the inner thighs. It's all working together. And one more time to each side. Don't rush through it. Let yourself really enjoy the experience. Enjoy the full breath. Then come to center. Send your arms up to the sky. Stand, swan dive, bending your knees if you like, all the way to the ground to a nice fold. And then walk your hands out forward, coming to your down dog. Shifting to your plank. Drop your knees. And shift your hips back to your devotional pose. Devotional child's pose. Use your belly to shift forward again into your little baby plank. And then this time, bend the elbows, slowly lowering yourself down to the ground. Moving through chaturanga all the way to your belly. Then lengthen one leg, lengthen the other leg. Rock your hips, roll your shoulders. Maybe a couple of times if you like. And then when you're ready, send one arm out to the side. We're going to stack your hips away, rolling your hips. The opposite hip of the one that's reaching behind you. Let that hip come up on top of the other. And then let the hand that was supporting you, the one that's not reaching behind you, come on top of your body. You have a nice line here. Maybe your feet lift up off the ground. A little bit of a balance pose here. Core active. Soften the shoulders, soften the neck. And then let those feet lower back down, and that top leg can bend and the toes can reach back behind you. You can let that top arm come up and reach behind you if you like. Or you can bring it forward if you're looking for more of a twist than a chest opener. Whatever you'd like to work on today. And then to come out, bring your hand, the top arm, back to your side. Stack your hips right on top of each other. Extend that top leg alongside the other leg. Lift the legs again. And then lower them and bring that top hand in front of you. And slowly bend the knees, coming around to the belly. Gently rocking the hips here. Bringing the arm that's been extended beside you in, next to the other, next to the head. And then from here, lengthen each leg, tuck the pelvis, tuck the tailbone, and shift up, bringing the hands into either Sphinx or Cobra, depending on where you're wanting to go right now and what feels safe to your body. And then slowly rolling back down. We're going to do that in the other side, sending the arm behind you. The other hand is still up close. We're going to press that hip into the ground to roll up onto the stacked shoulders, stacked hips. You're getting to see this from the back now. And then when you're ready, bringing that top arm just alongside the waist, alongside the body, on top of the leg. You can stay here, or if you'd like to lift your legs, lengthening, activating the core, breathing in and out here, softening your jaw, softening your shoulders, softening your hands. Lower the legs, and then bend that top leg and reach the toes back behind you if you like. This top arm, if you want to reach it toward your backhand, leave it where it was on your side, or reach it forward for a twist in the shoulders. You're welcome to do either. Listening to your body and doing what works for you. Using your breath to help you stay present in the body and the experience of what your muscles are doing. And then when you're ready, slowly bring that hand up under your shoulders. Let the knees come back, the leg come back to center. You can lift the legs again. And then slowly lower them, bend the knees, and roll back to your belly.
What are you doing?
I'm doing a video for my friend. And then when you get back to your belly, lengthen your legs, rock your hips gently, roll your shoulders, and you can bring your elbows up underneath your shoulders for Sphinx pose or full Cobra. And then slowly widen the elbows, roll back down to your belly. Bring the hands under your shoulders, press your knees into the ground, let your hips lift, and then press yourself up to plank, a baby plank, and shift your hips back to devotional. Rolling up to thunderbolt. Your toes can be tucked. Your top of your feet can be on the mat. Whatever works for you. And then when you're ready, come back to seated in the center of your mat. From here, with your legs in front of you. Wait, please go so I can finish. Thank you. Coming back. Will you shut the door behind you, please? Thank you. Appreciate that. Coming back to the mat. Let's go ahead and put your feet down. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Arch your back and then pull the belly in. So you're still lifting through the chest and you're starting to round just that low back. Just bringing the low back down to the mat. And then from here, rolling back up. Let's extend the legs a little further. Tucking the pelvis, keeping a nice broad chest, lots of space in that upper body. Starting to tuck that pelvis and rolling that low back to the ground. And then rolling back up. We'll do one more like that. Arching the back at the very top. Just starting to tuck the pelvis, keeping the upper body nice and broad, like you're arching your back. And letting that low back roll down to the mat. And then rolling all the way up. And from here, if you want to extend your legs in front of you, wiggle your toes. Walk your fingertips forward and arch your back. Just reaching where you can with an arched back. Bend the knees. Maybe reach a little bit further with your arched back. And then round the spine forward. Roll the spine back up. And if it feels okay, let that continue all the way down to the mat. All the way flat. Let your arms just continue up. If they want to extend overhead, they can. They can then sweep around by your sides and just come down by your hips. And you can soften, taking a nice deep breath here. And then if there's anything else you'd like to do before moving into a shavasana, maybe pulling gently one knee in and doing a little twist on each side, or maybe bringing both feet to the ground and doing a little bridge pose by lifting the hips up into the air. Maybe hugging both legs in and center. Anything that feels good to you. And then finding yourself in that place of stillness. Maybe lifting your hips a little bit and rocking them and lowering them back down. Maybe giving yourself a hug before you find that stillness. Just finding that place where your body feels nice and even, where you feel like you've given yourself what you need in order to come to this final resting pose, which is truly the most important part of the practice, because it helps the body integrate all of the movement that you experienced, all of the muscle use you experienced, all the realignment. Coming into this final resting pose, this shavasana, start to notice the breath again, very intentionally. Noticing the breath moving in through the nostrils. Notice how it interacts with the sinuses in the forehead. Notice how the breath interacts with the capillaries in your skull and in your hair. Notice how your breath interacts with your cheeks and your ears and your scalp. Notice with each breath how the breath is interacting with your jaw and your lips and your neck, your ears, your throat, your shoulders. Notice how the breath interacts with your upper arms, your lower arms, your wrists, your hands, your fingertips. Notice how the breath interacts with your whole arm, both sides, and all the way up into the armpit, the underarm, and into the shoulder blade on the back. Notice how the breath interacts with your spine, the upper part, into your neck, to your skull, down between your shoulders. Notice how your breath is interacting with now your lower spine, the mid back and the low back into your sacrum. Notice your spine and the breath on the front side of your body, from your throat and your windpipe into your chest, your lungs, your ribs, your heart, pumping that blood that has that new fresh oxygen in it, pumping blood around, the exchanging that's happening between the lungs and the heart, the lungs and the blood, the whole body, all the systems at work in a dance, moving round and round. And notice how your breath interacts with that dance, with the whole body. And then coming back to the front side of the chest, the front side of the spine, and the organs. Moving into the belly. Moving into the hips, the front and back of the hips, the hip joints, pelvis. Moving down the legs, the upper legs, the knees, the calves and shins, the ankles, and the top and bottom of your feet, the toes. Noticing the whole leg on both sides. Noticing the whole torso, front, back, side to side, up and down. Noticing the arms and the legs and the torso and the head all together. The breath flowing in and out. Notice if there's places that are a little firm or stiff or holding tension. Send a little extra breath and smoothness into those places. Maybe one at a time, maybe simultaneously, being aware of these places and sending the breath to them. And just being now present to these waves of breath that move through the body, receiving them, releasing them, letting your body interact with them in a way that feels natural. And if your mind wanders, that's okay. Notice where your mind wandered to. And when you're ready, just look at that and bring it back. Know that you can think about that anytime. And not anytime can you lay here resting in a savasana. And let your mind come back to your body. Let your awareness come back to the breath. Breathing in, releasing, receiving that breath, breathing out, letting go, sharing. Just taking a few more breaths here, receiving and sharing, present to this natural cycle, this effortless experiencing. And when you're ready, your breath expanding, growing a little deeper, and then maybe starting to activate you, activating your body subtly through your breath, whatever that means to you, and gently, eventually letting that mean moving your fingers and toes consciously, and then eventually letting that mean slowly coming out of your shavasana stillness and taking your time to come up to a seated position. Being gentle with yourself as you do so. Staying present to your breath, staying present with your body as you move. We don't have to rush out of this today. And then when you're ready and you found yourself in a seated position, go ahead and bring the hands to the heart. Let the hands at the heart reach. Press against the heart gently on the thumb side, and let the fingertips reach the throat. And let the head bow gently. Breathing in, feeling that inhale move through the body. Exhaling. Go ahead and offer a sound, a sigh, an om, whatever feels good to you. And do that 3 times. Om. Om. Breathing naturally. May we know peace, love, and compassion in our hearts, minds, bodies. May the words that we speak and the actions of our hands bring compassion, peace, love to all being. Go ahead and rub your hands together. Bring the hands over the eyes, sealing the practice in, clearing anything that might need to be cleared still, and then letting the hands come over the body. Again, sealing the practice in, touching just the places that feel good. Maybe there's something that needs to be cleared still. And when you're ready, letting your hands pass by your belly, your solar plexus, back up to your heart. Tap your fingertips to your forehead, and then back to your heart, and then to your throat, and back to your heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Namaste. Have a lovely day.